Hi all, this is Vikas Arora, your podcast host for Elite CISO's CISO Speak series. Elite CISO is dedicated to sharing knowledge and improving collaboration within CISO and CIO community. Today we are starting our new initiative of knowledge sharing that is a format of podcast. So in this podcast, what we'll do is we'll invite CIOs and CISOs from industry, and they will talk about their experience about different topics on cybersecurity. So today, I'm thrilled to invite Mr. Venkata from Rediff.com. He works there as Director Security. Venkata is a great friend, and we have known each other from past many years. He's one of the very few Indian CISOs who attend Black Hat and DEF CON in Las Vegas, US. Welcome, Venkata.
Thank you, Vikas. Thanks for
Great,
inviting.
great. So I really appreciate you accepting the invite to talk to us on this format because this is something new we are starting. And I wanted to do something on the email security, and there's nobody best in the industry who knows about how to do email security right. So thanks for accepting our invite. Um,
It's
I'll
pleasure.
get great. I'll get going with the questions because we want to keep this podcast very focused and short. So my first question is again, can you introduce yourself because we know each other, but our listeners may not know you. So can you introduce yourself, your current role, your experience in cybersecurity, and all? So
Yeah, thank you, Vikas. Uh, I am Venkata Satish Guttula. I have 19 plus years of experience in the information technology, and out of which I have spent the last 14 years in Rediff.com in the various roles and handling different responsibilities. I'm currently the Director of Security at Rediff.com, looking after cyber security, data privacy, risk audit, and compliance. So I want to keep it short.
yeah, wonderful. Glad to hear that. So Venkata and I have been to many Black Hat conferences. That's one conference that I love, and it is sad to see that this time it is going to be virtual. I mean, with the COVID situation, you can't do a in-person conferences where thousands of people are there in a room. So it is good that instead of canceling the conference, they are at least doing it in a virtual format. So Venkata, what do you think? We will not be able to go to Las Vegas this time.
Yeah, it's very sad that we are not able to go to Las Vegas because you know, going to Las Vegas to attend Black Hat and DEF CON, it's a different experience altogether, right?
Right,
It's not just a conference and sessions, but you get to meet the greatest minds who have developed many of the cybersecurity tools which we are using daily. So I've been using Marscan and other tools, and
right,
even mobile security framework. Anjin was there. I was speaking to him. So all
right,
these
right,
released in Black Hat and DEF CON, and
right,
you get to use it, and you get to interact with them, learn their thought process, and get your queries answered. There are many queries. There are sometimes you may have some queries relating to the software what they release.
right,
So you
right,
to know, you speak to them and get it answered. And sometimes they have released a new version because of the feedback what you are given. Okay, so
right.
it's a process which is there. And yeah, yes, I met you over
Yeah,
there, right? And this is
yeah,
where
yeah. Yeah, that was great. So yeah, I'm also gonna miss the Black Hat this time because I'm going there from past almost 10 years now, and this year again I will not miss it. We'll do a virtual thing, so we'll attend over that. But yeah, it's a great experience to go to Black Hat. You can appreciate the size of conference they have. I mean, thousands of people, and everything is so well organized. Where the conference is, who is speaking, what the venue is, food, everything is so well arranged. So great.
right,
Uh,
yeah, very well managed. The goons, how they manage, how they keep everyone going.
absolutely. And
Sadly, uh,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
conducted virtually, and I don't know if it is like the daily webinar what we are attending, then it loses all the fun around it, right? So it's
yeah,
just
that's
like
true.
your uh, conference.
Yeah, that's true. So I'm going to miss the swags. So a lot of t-shirts and a lot of good stuff that we get over there. We are going to miss that. Yeah, great. Okay, now coming to the topic. So email security is something, very important. And phishing, we all know that, okay, organizations are getting attacked by phishing and all. So what is your take on the overall email security? Because you come from a company that provides email as a service. So what is your take on overall email security?
Yeah, that's a good question, Vikas. Let me start with some statistics around cybersecurity, cyber attacks involving email. Okay,
Mhm.
more than 90% of the targeted cyber attacks use spear phishing in the initial phase to gain entry to the organization network. You
Right,
see, 90% of any attack, they use spear phishing to gain entry. So you can know the seriousness of how these email attacks are, because they have been scouting people on LinkedIn. So there's an instance where attackers was going through the profile of a network administrator, and they saw what kind of firewalls he is using and what kind of security protocols he is using, and they built a, a malware payload based on that, and they sent an email attachment to him saying that uh, so it's a process what they have done, and
right.
finally they offered him a job, and they asked him to download a PDF and make the entry,
Wow.
fill the form, and he did that thing, and they were able to get into the network, and because he
Hmm.
is network and he was having admin rights and everything. So email, yes, spear phishing is the biggest one. Okay,
Hmm.
I'm also telling you others. So in 2018, phishing URLs in the emails detected to be more than 269% than in the previous year of 2017.
Wow. Such a hike. Wow.
269%,
Yeah.
269% increase.
Right.
Okay, and these are some of the statistics a couple of years ago, and
Hmm.
they are in the upper 10. So the statistics, what I'm told, is in 2018 and 17. They are in the
Right.
upward. And cyber attacks involving email is increasing daily, and organization and individuals should acknowledge this and focus more on email security, as many don't see email as a real threat. That is the
Right.
problem. What?
Right. So very, very important topic. So when you say email-based security and email-based attacks, so apart from phishing, so phishing is the initial vector. You send a document or a link, somebody clicks, download the malware and all, and from there you pivot in the network. Now, apart from phishing, are there other attacks based on email systems or based on emails per se?
Yeah, there are a lot of attacks. Phishing is just one of them.
Hmm.
I'll give you an example. Recently, there was a big sextortion email scam. You remember
Hmm.
sextortion email
Yeah,
scam
yeah.
where they sent email with your password and
Right,
asking you
right, right.
ransom, or else they will release your
Hmm.
browsing history and your webcam recordings,
Right,
right?
right, right, right.
People fell prey for that, because these scamsters got hold of your actual password.
Right.
Why did they? How did they get a hold?
Hmm.
So they got hold of your data from these data breach dumps.
Okay.
So when there is any attack, so in the dark web, you are getting a lot of data breach dumps, which are
Hmm.
having addresses, passwords, and other details.
Right.
Okay, so
So,
underneath,
yeah,
yeah,
what you're saying is that hackers are scanning the dark web and the other places where the leaked passwords are available. So let's say my password, let's say I used 10 years back on something, that service got hacked, and whatever password I was using in that service, they get access to those passwords and use that information to send me a sextortion email, right? Something like that.
yes. So even though it is not, that password is not used currently, but still it is your password, and you will you will be afraid, so yeah, how did they get hold of my password?
Right.
And you will take action. And we saw many people actually paid bitcoins to these scams.
Absolutely. That's a
But
free money for them. Yeah.
yeah, the thing is
Yeah.
that they don't have any dirt on you. They just got
Mhm.
your name and password from the data dump, and they are
Right.
scaring. The scare tactics worked, and many people paid that.
Right. Right.
What I highlight over here is yeah, that many users are using the same password across services, and they're not changing their password.
Hmm.
Okay, so this recycling as password is very dangerous.
Hmm.
As you know, data breaches are happening, and if the hacker, as I told, the hacker gets hold of one such dump,
Right.
he has access to almost all your services which you registered. And people are thinking two-factor authentication is very is not user friendly. They are disabling two-factor authentication wherever there's a feature to disable,
Hmm.
saying that okay, no step, why should I wait for certain seconds or minute for the
Right. Right.
and if they, because of that the password is out there, people are able
Hmm.
to log in services.
Hmm.
And if it is a email service, everything is connected to email, right?
Right.
if you
Absolutely.
if you don't want to do a forward password
Hmm.
reset
Hmm.
or OTP or confirmation email, everything comes there. So
Absolutely.
if your email account is hacked, then hacker has got everything on you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So you have to be very careful and ensure that two-factor remains. You do not disable that. It's a great security feature, right?
Correct, correct.
Great, great. So again, sextortion is also some kind of social engineering attack, kind of phishing attack. Now to protect from these kind of attacks, see, user awareness is one part, right? You do not click on the links, do not open the attachment coming from unknown sources and all. But as a uh, from an email system perspective, that nobody can impersonate you, verify some kind of email security, what kind of tools and techniques and features are available that as an email security administrator we can implement?
Because one second, before coming
Yeah.
to that question, I have some more examples to share. Okay, so one major email-based attack is ransomware. Okay,
Right, right, right.
do you recollect in 2017 there's a ransomware attack on Mars and JNPT?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Right?
absolutely, absolutely.
Started with it started with email.
Wow.
So that
Right,
the ransomware crippled systems of Mars and JNPT, and operations
right,
came to standstill. So
right.
all the systems were shut down because maybe by the ransomware or
Hmm.
administration to shut down to prevent them from getting encrypted. And
Absolutely.
Musk lost business of about 200 to 300 million dollars.
$1 million. Wow. And that is just because of somebody clicking on a wrong link or downloading one malware in one system. And so from one
Yeah.
system it went through the entire company. Wow. Phenomenal. Phenomenal.
In this case, employee in Ukraine,
Hmm.
he downloaded an email which got NotPetya ransomware,
Right,
and it
right, right.
them eight days to uh, come out of that thing, but they lost around 200 to 300 million dollars.
Yeah, that's a fascinating case study. I mean, I remember the CEO of Mars coming to the Davos conference in Switzerland and talking about this attack. I mean, phenomenal. I mean, I would encourage everybody to at least go and watch that testimony, how Mars got infected and how using human resilience they overcome that particular threat, and how they restored their Active Directory is even fascinating. So go ahead and read about it. Great.
There's an
Yeah.
article in Wired, you should search on Wired, Mars, NotPetya. There's an amazing article out there.
Right.
So
And this is a
it,
weird magazine, Wired magazine that published this case study, right? Fascinating,
correct.
fascinating.
Wired magazine published this case study.
Yeah, great. So now again, coming back to security of an email system itself. So there you have some kind of authentication that okay, email is coming from a right sender. Nobody can impersonate you. how do you handle those kind of things? What is your opinion on that?
Okay, so when email was invented, inventors wanted the protocol to be as simple as possible.
Mm-hmm.
That is why the name of the protocol is Simple Mail Transfer Protocol.
Right.
It did not have any security features, none.
Right.
You just can email to anyone on someone's behalf. I can send a
Mm-hmm.
mail to your boss spoofing as you. Okay, so
Right.
receiving servers do not have any way to check the mail is actually sent by the domain which it is saying.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't have anything. So there came SPF, or the Sender Policy Framework,
Mm-hmm.
which was first mentioned in 2000. Okay, when an
Right.
email server receives an email, it can now check the SPF records on the of the domain to
Okay.
verify if the email is from the authorized IP address or not. Okay, so SPF
Mm-hmm.
record has a list of IP addresses in which the domain or administrator has
Mm-hmm.
authorized, and emails will be sent from those IP addresses. So he said that only from these set of IP addresses
Mm-hmm.
we'll be sending emails from us. From a
Right.
particular domain or not, but it
Right.
cannot if a mail is if mail is tampered with in transit.
Okay.
Okay,
So, right. So all you can verify is that, okay, email has been sent by these authorized servers, right? Whatever the IP address is or the range is. So SPF is a protocol or a process by which you can verify that only these email servers are authorized to send emails, right?
exactly. But
Okay. I- I- I-
um,
yeah.
it can be tampered because previously it was not on any secure connection. Tampered.
Mm-hmm.
So to uh, to tackle this, DCAM complements SPF by using an alternate method of sender identification based on
Mm-hmm.
cryptography.
Okay.
So DMR, it is called as a domain keys identified mail.
Mm-hmm.
It allows the receiver to check that an email claimed to have come from a specific domain was indeed authorized by the owner of the domain.
Okay.
So it is achieved by affixing a digital signature linked to a domain name to each outgoing email address, email message. Every message is having a digital signature, and it is based on the content of the email. Every digital signature changes for every
Mm-hmm.
email which is being.
Okay.
Okay,
So,
how does
just on this one, does it have any overhead because you are doing a digital signing of every email which is going out? Does it have any overhead on the let's say system side and user side? Is it more complicated for users to use DKIM, or it is not impacted? I mean, they are not impacted with it.
it's not that much. We have been doing it for
Mm-hmm.
ages together,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't see any overhead on that thing. So these
Oh,
are
okay,
some of the.
perfect.
So now coming back, the recipient system
Mm-hmm.
can verify this by looking at the sender's public key published in the DNS.
Okay.
So valid signature also guarantees that some parts of the email, possibly attachments, have not been modified since the signature was affixed.
Okay. Okay.
Usually, DCAM signatures are not visible to end users and are affixed or verified by the
Mm-hmm.
infrastructure rather than the message authors and recipients.
Makes sense.
So that if you want to see, you can go and open the email headers,
Mm-hmm.
or you can view in raw message, and you can see the DCAM signature over there.
Okay.
It shows what is the domain from where you have to check the public key and how to match the signature. So they are all there in the headers, and it is
Mm-hmm.
not visible to any user because
Right.
it is.
Right. So with SPF and DKIM, you are putting some kind of authentication in the open email system that okay, these servers are authorized. and the message has not been tampered with, right? So that
Correct.
that validity, that verification, and that trust goes into the email system. There's something else also known as DMARC. What is that?
Yeah. So now let us come to a thing. Now the mail server knows that the incoming message is a spoof mail or a regular mail
Mm-hmm.
because it's doing SPF and DKIM checks. So now let's take if it is a spoof mail, because SPF and DKIM failed, then what will the email server do? It will
Right.
deliver the mail either in the junk box or inbox, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to take a small example here. See, we can still remember now, even though it has been a couple of months since we
Mm-hmm.
we have traveled in air, but
Right.
whenever we are going to airports, we see how a security officer stops us at the gate to check our boarding pass or maybe a ticket and compare it with our identification documents, right?
Right. Right.
So what he does is he matches our name in the ticket and boarding pass. He checks the date and time of the flight, and he checks compares that name with our name in the identification document.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's a driving license or passport or whatever government issued document. So once if it is matches, then he allows us to go inside, right? Otherwise, what
Mm-hmm.
he will do, he'll just stop us from entering, or maybe he will take us to police station to arrest us
Mm-hmm.
or not. So here they what he does is if he knows that if you are faking on someone's name, then he is
Mm-hmm.
stopping you from entering the airport.
Right. Right.
But let's come back to emails.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the email server knows that the incoming email is a spoof mail. How?
Right.
Because if email fails SPF and DKIM, the email server knows that it's a spoof mail, but
Wow.
still they are
Okay.
right now. Why they are doing is because there is no such written rule for email. There
Mm-hmm.
is none. So to tackle this, to fight this email spoofing, a group of leading organizations came together to collaborate on a method to combat email spoofing at internet scale.
Mm-hmm.
The or domain-based message authentication, reporting, and conformance. That is a full
Mm-hmm.
form of DMARC.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it is a email authentication policy and reporting protocol.
Makes
Okay, so
sense.
it is yeah, it is a it builds on widely deployed SPF and DKIM. So it
Right.
needs SPF to work. If the organization did not deploy SPF and DKIM, then it doesn't work.
Right. Great. In the interest of time and keeping the podcast short so that it does not become a webinar, I'll quickly ask a follow-up question on that. So
Okay.
do you see organizations implementing SPF, DMARC, and DKIM? What is the adoption rate in the industry right now?
Uh, SPF and DKIM are mostly used by organizations. It has
Mhm.
become a standard now, but
Okay.
DMARC adoption is very less. Uh, uh, I
Hmm.
don't know why, but DMARC adoption is very less. Companies are not sending forensic reports. So
Okay.
as I in DMARC, R stands for reporting,
Hmm.
where if anyone is trying to spoof, then there are two types of reports here. One is called as audit report and one is a forensic report.
Hmm.
Audit report is aggregate report. It simply tells how many spoof mails or correct mails got
Hmm.
they received uh, from your domain,
Right.
and they give which IP addresses they came. But forensic
Mhm.
reports gives you the in-depth analysis, like from what is the sender ID from which it is being sent, what is the
Okay.
subject which is being sent. But
Right.
not many email providers are sending these reports, and
Okay. Okay.
are thinking that DMARC actually helps them from combating spoof. So you see, there is a very lot less of adaptation of DMARC in the industry.
Right. Makes sense. Makes sense.
So
Yeah. So
we,
maybe we
we,
will we will do one more discussion later on, and we will start from a DMARC implementation or DKIM implementation perspective. Because that could many people would be interested into that. I know many have still not implemented DKIM and SPF, and they struggle with that. So maybe in future we'll talk about that too.
these terminologies are very technical, and it is very
Yeah.
difficult for someone to understand.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we may have to do a longer webinar for that. Now, before we leave, one last question. During this COVID-19 times, everybody is working from home. Everybody is using email, whether they are using VPN or not, they are using email for sure, right? So how do you suggest, how do they protect yourself from these phishing or email-based attacks?
Right. See, in this COVID recent times, we saw many COVID-19 related cyber attacks. I will uh, give an example. We saw some emails sent to finance people in an organization impersonating as a CEO of the company and asking them to purchase Amazon gift cards and send it back to him because he wants to use it in a CSR activity for COVID related.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
one example, and
Wow.
those people they almost fell for that thing, but still they replied to it and they did that thing.
Right.
And there are many cases where people are getting COVID related, like HR is sending a work policy
Right.
on from home policy on COVID times, but it is actually a malicious
Wow. Wow.
document file. So there were a lot of these things.
Right. So hackers are not resting, right? Whether they are also working from home. So they
Yeah,
they also have targets and right, scam as many people as you can.
yeah, people are working from home, and
Yeah.
they're not into their 100% when they're doing. That's why they're.
Right. Right. Wonderful. Wonderful.
So
So
I
how
want to
do you?
give, yeah, I want to give
Yeah.
some tips how to protect yourself.
Yeah.
Uh, so a COVID virus themed email that seeks
Hmm.
personal data like your bank information is a phishing scam. Okay,
Hmm.
this is happening. Never respond to email with your bank login details or personal data.
Right.
Always
Right.
check from address to see if the email is sent from your organization or your bank. And
Hmm.
also check if the links are actually pointing to the actual domain. There are phishing links which goes to the page may look genuine, but the link is something else. So you need to be careful and looking at the links.
Right.
For spelling and grammatical mistakes,
Hmm.
and suspicious of emails that insist you act now. Okay,
Right.
so emails create a sense of urgency and demand
Right.
immediate. They want you to click on an email and provide information, or they want to do some financial transaction, or they want to log into your bank account, or else they will tell that your account will be closed.
Right. Right.
If it looks genuine, call the
Hmm.
person and confirm
Hmm.
and then act. So because we are working from home and we don't have our bosses or our colleagues in front, so I suggest you need to
Hmm.
call them up and confirm whether it is he sent a mail, and then take action on any of these things which is in.
Absolutely. Makes sense. Makes sense.
So finally, coming back to my favorite topic, DMARC organizations have
Hmm.
not
Right.
they are not implemented DMARC properly, or even
Right.
though some organizations implemented DMARC because of
Hmm.
statutory authority
Hmm.
guidelines, what
Hmm.
they have done is they have just implemented for sake of compliance.
Right. Right.
So it's like I always tell, it's like installing AC in an ATM center, but not connecting it. Why? Because
Yeah.
it is okay. There should be an AC in an ATM center. They install it, but no one told that I need to connect it. I
It
need
should
to
be
make sure.
running. Yeah.
Yeah, so they had DMARC implementation just like that.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
Today, authority told me that there should be DMARC. Yes, we implemented DMARC, but they are not seeing that it is working properly or not.
Right.
So
Makes sense.
I
Makes sense.
urge everyone to make sure that it is
Wonderful.
properly.
Wonderful. Great insights, Venkata. So I think we will certainly need to have a webinar, not a podcast, talking about just DMARC, SPFN, DKIM. So I really appreciate you taking out time and talking to our audience on this very important topic of email security. Thanks once again, and I really appreciate your support on this. Thank you very much, and we'll talk later. Bye.
Thank you, because I just want to tell that Rediff.com also, many people know that Rediff.com is providing free email, but we also provide enterprise email, and we also provide the DMARC analyzer tools and all. So
Wonderful, wonderful. So like G Suite, like Office 365, we have Indian-based company providing all the email services, right? So if anybody has to get on Rediff mail.com from a corporate perspective, who should they contact?
they just can log into Rediff.com, and there are tabs, enterprise email and business email.
Right.
All is there. And I also want to tell that we are Indian company, vocal for local, and all our
Right.
data centers located in India. We are paid with all pairing with ISPs and telcos, so that
Right.
the data transit also doesn't go outside India. So these
Oh,
are some of the
wonderful.
things.
Wonderful, wonderful. Great. Thanks for sharing that. Think global, act local. That's what the theme is, right? During this COVID times. So yeah, great. Thanks for sharing the insights, Venkata. And we'll chat later. Bye. Bye everyone.
Bye, Vikas. Bye.